Shaner?
Here.
Scott?
Here.
Waters?
Here.
Greckin?
Here.
Moore?
Here. Can we stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have two proclamations today. I'll read the first one that we're just reading. Whereas between 4 to 7 children die every day in America from abuse and neglect, and whereas 7,000 children in the state of Iowa were served by child advocacy centers as victims of sexual and physical abuse or neglect this year, and whereas child abuse can have a long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that can have lifelong consequences for victims of abuse, and whereas the month of April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the meaningful connections and partnerships created between child welfare, education, health, community, and faith-based organization, businesses, and law enforcement agencies. And whereas April Guardians of the Children and other supporters of child advocacy movement ask the community to join in outreach efforts to reduce and prevent child abuse. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of City Council, do hereby proclaim April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Siouxland, and urge all our citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Next, we have one, Kim Wilson. Can't see it. We have a proclamation that reads, whereas the Head Start and Early Head Start programs of the Community Action Agency of Siouxland and other local organizations in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children are celebrating the Week of the Young Child, April 10th through the 16th, 2021. And whereas by recognizing that nearly 22% of children birth to 5 in our community live in low-income families, whereas by highlighting the need for high-quality early childhood services can help improve the effects of poverty, detect and remediate delays, identify and help prevent child neglect, lead to a positive outcome for individual children, helping them to be better prepared for school and more likely to succeed in life. Whereas we must recognize the essential work of early childhood educators is vital to our growing community. Support efforts to see they are properly compensated and understand they have sacrificed and struggled to serve children and families since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of City Council, hereby proclaim April 10th to the 16th as the Week of the Young Child in Sioux City, and urge all our citizens to work to make an investment in early childhood. Present that to you, say a few words if you would like.
Oh. Thank you all very much. I'm Kim Wilson. I'm the Chief Development Officer for Community Action Agency of Siouxland. We just want to, on behalf of Community Action Agency of Siouxland, thank you all so much for your support for our Head Start and Early Head Start programs. We know that by educating children early, that we can help them be more successful and help raise them out of their low-income status as well. A lot of great research shows that. And so again, we really appreciate your support and your support in Community Action Agency of Siouxland and the nearly 14,000 individuals and families we serve each year. So thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Kim.
We'll go to interviews, Parking and Skywalk System Board of Trustees, Brent Belding. Brent, are you in? Come on up to the microphone, and we won't have you on mute today, and tell us a little bit about yourself, why you want to serve.
Good afternoon. I'm Brent Belding, 36 years old, lifelong, been in Sioux City my whole life. Been with Mercy a little over 9 years in security. Took over as a manager for security about 3 years ago. So just think I could bring some input and some knowledge to help out with any kind of issues and stuff that parking, and obviously with being downtown and around the hospital, there's always some parking issues. So any way I can help out.
I really appreciate your making the application for it. I think you'll be a good member of that board and can contribute much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just second that. I really appreciate the application and your interest, at least serving in this capacity. I would also encourage you just do as much creative thinking and creative problem solving as possible. I think it can be some complex situations dealing with different populations and everything like that. So just hopefully you can use your voice and solve some of those issues and what we have before us.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Appreciate you applying.
Thank you, Brent.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Yamanashi Sister City Committee, Joe Simons. Joe, come on up and tell us a little bit about where you want to serve.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joe Simons. Thanks for the opportunity to apply for the Yamanashi Sister City Committee. A little bit about myself, my background. I'm a local small business entrepreneur, father of one right now. And throughout my life and my career, I have volunteered for many different things. Foster parents, adoptive parents, Red Cross, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And I see this as another opportunity to expand, not just for myself, but to help Sioux City and Yamanashi City kind of exchange cultures and do a little bit better at reaching across the oceans and the lands to help each other.
Great.
Questions? Thanks. And I want to thank you too for applying. This is a committee that's very important. And it's been, well, because of the pandemic, of course, it's slowed down but we've had several vacancies on it. And so I hope you could help us find those citizens such as yourself that are interested in serving on Yamanashi City Committee and doing the good work that it's done over the years. So thank you for doing that in such a time of, it would be easy to say, you know, let somebody else handle it, but I'm glad you're stepping up to the plate. So thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, I'm going to be honest with you. I read, we all read a lot of these applications, and yours actually got me really excited reading that. I appreciate the homework that went into it, or at least the thought that you put behind it. You got me excited about a lot of these different ideas and programs that you threw out there. So I hope you meant that. I hope you're actually willing to pursue some of them. I mean, everything from the farmer's market to the Hong Kong supermarket, or, you know, bringing some of that cultural awareness and seeing what we can do. I mean, I thought it was great. We need proactive board members, and so I hope that you take some of these ideas to Dan's point and that we really lean into this relationship and see where we can be effective. I hope you use that voice and can find some good traction with some of those ideas. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Joe, how did your interest, along with what Alex has to say, how did your interest in Yamanashi City develop? Because I was really impressed with your questionnaire answers too.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always kind of liked the Japanese culture when I was young and watching movies and things that were now stereotypical tropes of the Japanese culture, but you know, at least it was a beginner kind of thing, introduction to the culture. Family first, and deep respect and deep level of responsibility that they have for their community are things that are values that I hold dear as well. So
Terrific. Thank you very much.
can I hand these to you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
5 though, so
Okay. I think we'll be all right.
All right.
excellent. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
We'll let you know. Thank you. We'll go to the consent agenda, which today is items 3 through 14H. Consider them to pass unanimously. Any person wishing to speak on agenda item should come up as I read that item. If you want to speak on an item not under the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda. Second. Reading of the City Council minutes, March 22nd, 2021. Motion acknowledging the Board of Adjustment actions. 5 is a resolution scheduling a hearing on the issuance of urban renewal bonds. 6 is a resolution assessing an unpaid skywalk operation charges against the Sioux City Hotel. 7 are actions relating to grants. Resolution authorizing fire rescue to accept a merged spring grant for equipment used in fire training.
B is a resolution authorizing the Human Rights Commission to receive a Tyson Foods Summer Community Internship Program agreement from Iowa Western Community College. C is a resolution accepting a grant from the FAA under the Airport Coronavirus Response Program. Mike, every one of these we get questions, so I know the amount, but would you tell the media how much money it is and what your plans are, please?
Yeah, Mike Collette, Assistant City Manager. So this is the second grant that we've received under the CARES Act type. This is Carissa specifically, $1,016,006, basically for operational needs to subsidize lost revenue. There will be a third round coming, probably of similar amounts. We just don't know the amounts yet.
So similar to like PPP or something, I mean, just for.
Similar to this amount, probably again, as round 3. This was the one past the end of December.
For more operational.
More
and
operational.
Stuff like that.
Thank you.
You bet.
D is a resolution authorizing an application for FTA for funding under the low and no emission program.
Mayor, Mike, could you please come back up? I just want to make a couple of comments on this item. I'm really excited about the project. I'm excited that you're making the application. I don't know what our chances are of having it approved, but, and help me with the pronunciation of Gillig, is it Gillig?
Gillig is the company, yes.
Gillig battery electric bus is what we're talking about for a total of $931,830. Well, it's the bus plus the electric bus plus the 2 electric charger stations and $45,000 for transit maintenance, facility infrastructure retrofitting and remodeling. So our match would be that $153,536. But the point is, we're moving into the field of an electric bus, and we're going to try it out, see how it works. But I'm really excited that you're pursuing that, Mike, and I think it's I think it could be a very good thing.
Yeah, we've learned in the last couple of years that FTA is really rewarding agencies who are applying for electric modes of transportation, so that's why we're here.
So we would be receiving nearly $1 million in grant. And
Correct.
the match would be just under $155,000.
Exactly. Yep.
I like those numbers.
If we're successful, hopeful.
If we're successful.
We're successful, yeah. It is competitive based.
Right.
Yep.
When would that come on board? If we do get this grant, what would be the time?
Probably a 2-year lead time.
2-year lead time?
Yeah.
Where it'd have that bus? Okay. Are
Yeah,
those
a
any-
regular bus runs about 15 months, so
Okay. Will the electric bus be any larger in size than the
same size.
same size?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And our other, just because Dan brought it up and we're talking about it, and I'm always curious about this stuff, is that how, like, we've talked about other communities before, like DART and some of those other organizations. Is that a lot of times where they get the initial funding and then they start financing future buses to follow kind of that?
This specific grant is for these types of buses, and that's where they've gotten the funding in the past as well, is through this one. This has been an annual one for the past 5 years. We'll see with the next act of transit whether they still promote this going forward. I assume they will.
Yeah, well, the infrastructure bill, yeah,
Right.
like they will. Cool.
Does Gameco make these?
What's that?
Gameco makes an electric like train. Are they making electric buses?
I don't know that. I'm not sure.
Well, it would be nice if we check that out. I don't know that they do,
Okay.
but it'd be kind of nice to at least get, are we stuck with getting it?
No, it kind of depends on what's going to be on the Iowa contract as well.
Well, it'd
But
be
they
nice-
usually provide 2 or 3 different types.
Be nice if Gameco were on that, keep it kind of local, but,
Yeah.
all right. E is a resolution accepting a water quality urban infrastructure grant for the Chris Larson Park Riverfront Development Project. 8 are civil penalties and suspension. A is a resolution assessing a $500 civil penalty against Select Mart for violation of the beer, wine, and liquor laws. B is a resolution withdrawing the $300 civil penalty against Sarge's Mini Mart 3, 1545 Indian Hills Drive for violation of cigarette laws. C is a resolution withdrawing the $300 civil penalty against Sarge's Mini Mart 3407 Glen Avenue for violation of the cigarette laws. D is a resolution scheduling a hearing on a proposed $300 civil penalty against Sarge's Mini Mart 3407 Glen Avenue for violation of the cigarette laws. Items 8E and 8H are resolution scheduling hearing on proposed $1,500 civil penalties or 30-day suspension of cigarette permits issued to Come and Go and Sam's Mini Mart and La Placita Latina and Fairwood. 9 are actions adopting construction doc. A is a resolution adopting plans and specifications for the Chris Larson Park Riverfront Development Project.
Mayor,
Yeah.
may I ask Matt Salvatore a couple of questions? Matt, we're on schedule, are we not, for the Phase 2 project?
Yeah, Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director, correct. This would be adopting our construction documents so we can start construction similar to Phase 1, about almost exactly the same timing as Phase 1, just a year later.
Okay, and I didn't have an opportunity to discuss this with you ahead of time, so I apologize. But in the write-up, we have Phase 2 includes site preparation and demolition of existing appurtenances and partial structure removal, site grading and filling, trails, construction of 3 river overlooks, construction of 2 covered pavilions, a fountain area splash pad, general utility and electrical work, new lighting, and site restoration and development. I was thinking, and maybe the 3 overlooks, maybe that's, we're going to have a total of 3. I was thinking that there were 4, but I don't.
Nope, 3. One's a rehab, but so, yeah, technically 4, but one's a rehab that's a part of Phase 1.
Well, that was part of Phase 1. So Phase 2 has the construction of the new 3
Yes.
river overlooks. Okay, well, that's an exciting part of that project as far as I'm concerned. And then you've got the trails in here as well, so
Yeah,
great.
exciting stuff.
Thank you, Mayor.
B is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the West 7th Street Water Main Replacement, 17th Street Water Main Replacement Project. 10 are actions relating to agreements. Resolution amending Resolution 2020-0339 to increase the audit fees with Williams and Company to complete the comprehensive financial audit report. I understand that we've got more grants or whatever and all that, but it seems like that's a lot of money when their base fee is only like 50, what, something, 54 or something?
Teresa Fitch, Finance Director. Yes, and we had to actually, with the increase, we had to increase by 2 grant reviews, and each one of them does cost $3,000. So a large chunk of it is the grant portion of the audit. So I would anticipate as our grants increase, we will continue to see that cost increase.
Well, then why don't we renegotiate the contract then?
We can do that. We just extended the contract for FY 20 and 21. The intent is for us to take it out to bid going forward, and then we would add that.
That's what everybody always says, but we rarely do that.
We will this time, I promise. Last time we did not, just because of the staff changes and whatnot, but we do plan on taking it out to bid for 22. And that we'll just because we've not ran into this in the past. This last year, we had a huge increase in grants. We've stayed pretty steady. We've not seen an increase. I anticipate that will continue to be an issue, so we'll add that to the contract.
So we'll mark our calendars, it'll be bidding when?
Should be bidding next January. That's the plan.
Okay. B is a resolution granting a permit to Fibercom to maintain underground cable near 515 Clark Street. C is a resolution awarding a contract to Vanderpool Excavating for the South Fairmont Street Reconstruction Project. D is a resolution approving a contract to Bainbridge Construction for the 28th Street Water Main Replacement Project. E is a resolution approving a contract to Equix Integrity for the Outer Drive Bridge Sanitary Sewer Televising and Cleaning Project. Where is this? Where's this project at? You know, after spending millions of dollars replacing a sewer line, I hope it's not in the same area.
Gordon Fair, city engineer. And yes, it is in the same area, but it's upstream. We have to evaluate that pipe, first clean it, videotape it to evaluate it, so we can go after the manufacturer of that pipe to pay for the replacement, if it needs to be replaced or rehabbed.
How are we doing on the first phase? I mean, you're going to tell me we can't do anything until we see this. I know what's coming, but we don't have a case already. I don't know how we're ever going to have one.
Dave Carney, Public Works Director. We're still working with their attorneys and their insurance company on getting a settlement out of them. I've been assured we will be getting a settlement. It just, they keep running back and forth with the numbers.
My question on this item was just, do we know anything about this company? I mean, coming all the way from Wisconsin. I'm sure they specialize in this.
I'm not familiar with them at all, though.
Okay.
But we have they're bonded for this. And they've done it before.
Here? Have they
Not
done
here,
any
no.
work here? Okay.
Motion
you.
authorizing negotiations with ABM Parking for Parking Management Services. I'm sorry, I asked for those contracts and I didn't get them today until about 10, and I didn't have a chance to look at them, but I guess the rest of the council will vote for it anyway. But again, these guys have been doing it for how long? Were they the low bidder? Because I didn't get a chance to look at it. I didn't get it in time to read it, so.
Question?
Were they the low bidder? I mean, I know it's a request for proposals, but did they have to give you a price?
Yes,
And was their price the low price?
it was in some things, and
I think the total was, it was $6,000 higher than the low bid. On, what was the, I can't remember what the total was.
I know you guys are really comfortable with them, but again, I don't know why we do some of these when we know we're gonna give it to the same group every time.
I'll offer up part of that question is the management fee ABM was the lowest. The rest of the costs are estimates that we reimburse on an actual basis. So they were the lowest on the management fees.
Okay.
Okay.
Question is, though, that's all right. I'm gonna keep moving today. G is a resolution approving an addendum to the 36-month lease for council for city print shop copier. H is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Quality Striping for the airfield painting and water blasting project. I is a resolution approving the consulting services agreement with West Plains Engineering for the City Hall interior lighting upgrade. I know that the horse is not, already left the barn, but we had this city hall torn apart doing these PTAC units. And why didn't we, if we knew we were gonna do the lights, why didn't we do it all at one time? So when these guys were here with electricians tearing our city apart, now you're gonna have another year of disruption in all these offices.
And I do apologize for that. We just didn't have the funding at that time. I know we spent it on the HVAC system.
I know, but there are some things if we knew we were gonna do it, we should ask to get something moved up. You know what I mean?
And I would agree with that.
It's just terrible that,
That's an oversight on my fault. So,
all right, well.
The other thing that I wanted to ask about this, and Mike will maybe recall, I'm not sure if you, Stan, were around for this conversation, was I brought it up during budget hearings that I would really like to look at an uplighting feature, LED uplighting for the exterior of our building. And I have no idea. I mean, we talked about it during budget because we talked about other city facilities as well of trying to do that. And I really wish we would have had an opportunity here where we're having some experts come and talk about LED if they're going to do the work on the interior. I mean, Mike, do you recall that conversation, what I was talking about?
Yep, so Stan and I had that discussion after the budget hearings.
Okay.
And we put it back to the engineer, and based on the CIP budget we have, they don't feel there's any room for exterior in this budget. Probably the exterior budget overall is about $50,000, just kind of throwing a number at design and potentially what you'd like to see out there for walk lights. So if council direction is we'd put it in next year's CIP budget would be our plan for the exterior.
Because it's just tough, because to the mayor's exact point, what just worries me is we have them here, and okay, we're here, it will be 40. Oh no, it's an all new thing, it's gonna be 60, or you know what I mean? Like
It would be Stan can speak to this, it would be pretty much a separate component of the project though.
Okay. Okay. I trust you guys. I just wanted to make sure that when I was reading this, it's like, gosh, that's like, if we're upgrading LED on the interior, I really wish we were having people look on the exterior too of what opportunities, because I think we are seeing them even on our street right here where we're seeing those projects.
Sounds like we're going to be pushing the limits on the budget just on the interior piece
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
I mean, if you'd like to add it as an alternate for council direction, yeah, we can do that.
Well, at the end, I'm gonna ask, we got 43 million coming from COVID money, and nobody around here yet seems to know what we can use that for, which is a little alarming to me that we don't have some idea. So I guess we need, my personal opinion is we need a meeting 1st of May with council, because I don't want to get that money all spent, and you guys make all those decisions. I don't want that to happen. I know, I'm just saying.
Mayor and council, we will report back to you as soon as we get clear direction from the federal government on how it can be spent. They have general guidelines, but they have not provided any.
Well, by the 1st of May is all I'm saying. We should have a council retreat.
As soon as we find out, we'll pass that along.
And you're missing the point. By the 1st of May, we ought to have direction, and I'd like a council retreat to go over that. I don't know where the rest of you are.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
We need to set the priorities
So,
And Mike,
on the projects and see what projects are qualified, which ones don't qualify.
yeah, I would be all
Can't
for
tell
it.
you that today.
Yeah. I would be all for that. And I guess to answer your question directly, I would say I would appreciate just knowing what that cost would be. Because my thought is, I would like to know what this property would be, you know what I mean? So we at least have an idea of what the cost would be. And then if we want to do it on future properties, because like we discussed the Tyson, that's going to be a lot bigger project, and I'd rather have an idea of where we are at.
It would add to the contract you're approving today, would add to the design fees by about $5,000, I think, is the estimate.
So you're asking me, or saying if we want them to come back and have the design of what it would look
We
like?
could bring that back as an additional addendum to their contract if you'd like them to look and bid that as an alternate in this cycle.
But it would be an extra $5,000 right now.
I think roughly,
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
yeah.
well, bring it. It doesn't cost anything to ask them what it is, right?
Okay, yep.
Right.
I would
At
appreciate
least we
it.
would have a benchmark established.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll send that out then.
Thank you.
J is a resolution approving an agreement with the Iowa Department of Public Defense for Taxiway A reconstruction project at the airport and rescinding resolution 2020-0567. K is a resolution approving development and minimum assessments agreement with Luck LLC.
Mayor?
Yep.
Renee, may I ask you a couple questions? This is another exciting project that we have going on downtown Sioux City. I just want to make sure I understand on the rebate of taxes. It's a 7-year rebate program on the improvements that are made.
Correct.
The taxes that are on the improvements.
Renee Billings, Business Development Coordinator. Correct. It's only on the new taxes, new improvements to the property, correct?
There'll be a 10-year minimum assessment agreement of $300,000.
Correct. $300,000.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I hope they're successful
Yes,
in putting that together. That's exciting news for Sioux City.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it is. And do you know, or is there a representative from, or Matt and Amy? Anyone here?
Matt or Amy here? No.
Okay. I'll follow up with them then. Thank you.
Yep.
11 is a resolution approving an amendment to the Targeted Jobs and Building Tax Credit Program agreement with the IEDA and Superior Industrial Mechanical. M is a resolution approving an assignment and assumption of agreements between Pizza Ranch and Sioux City RE. 10 are resolutions approving a contract with RP Constructors for the airport water main replacement project. Only took about 40 years to get rid of that old asbestos pipe. O is a resolution awarding a consulting service agreement with DGR Engineering for the Expo Center parking lot expansion project.
I wanted to ask just a couple of things. I feel like I'm stopping you a lot, Mayor. I'm sorry. Matt, one thing I just wanted to talk briefly about with this was, well, and I had one question. Now I'm trying to remember what the question was about. Well, I remember one was more general. I just want to make sure that we're strategic. Obviously, we need the parking lot expansion. That's warranted. I totally get it. What I'm saying is I want to make sure that we're cognizant, or at least keeping in mind, future development in that area and where those buildings could go, where those supplemental industries could go, things like that.
Yeah, the parking will go as south, on the south side of the building, as close to the building as possible. One thing I was looking at today, the construction of Bluff Road has started, and the curve of that road is moving a little closer to the DOT fence. So there's a much more developable space there in conjunction with that road. So we'll be mindful of that as we're working through this project.
I was going to say, I would just be hyper aware that the decisions that we make regarding where we expand that and what that looks like and whether a site is developable, you know what I mean, of what other, I mean, we know different industries are interested in perhaps developing in those areas. I just think that we want to really keep that in mind so we can continue to grow that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, thank
So
you.
the spot that we're paving is where that gravel already is.
It's just bare dirt right next to the building right now.
Staging area.
Right.
Construction.
Right, yeah. Staying furthest,
But we're
closest
using
to the,
that for some employee parking or something, or no?
no, that's on the other end.
Oh, okay,
So we're trying to stay as close to the building as possible.
okay.
Thanks.
B is a resolution awarding an annual agreement to Concrete Plus for the Utilities Concrete Construction Project. Q is a resolution awarding an annual agreement to AG Construction for Utilities Concrete Construction Project. R is a resolution approving renewal option number 2 with Hawkins for sulfuric acid. S is approving an amendment number 1 for the consulting services agreement for McClure Engineering for the airport water main project. T is a resolution approving a consulting service agreement with Alteg Engineers for the Grandview Booster Pump number 3 project. 11 are actions relating to PATS personnel. A is the Sioux City Gateway Airport. Resolution amending the position classification manual by adding an airport operations coordinator and budget payroll complement to reclassify the airport office assistant to airport operations coordinator. 2 is a resolution amending the position classification manual by adding an airport maintenance supervisor. B is the finance department. A is a 1 is a resolution amending the position classification by adding an accounting and reporting manager and amending the budget payroll complement by reclassifying 1 budget and financial analyst.
Mayor and Council, Teresa Fitch, Finance Director. There is one update on the accounting and reporting manager. This should read that they supervise and evaluate the work of subordinate staff related to accounts payable and accounting, not payroll. So this will be updated on the job description. I just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
2 is a resolution amending the position classification manual by approving an updated job description for the fiscal operations manager and budget manager. Purchasing, number 12, resolutions awarding a purchase order to Visco for chemical storage tank. B is a resolution.
Mayor?
Yep.
I have a question on that, Brad. Just a general question. There's such a great difference in the 3 prices or the 3 bids that were given. I mean, this one's for about $35,000. There's another one for $61,000, another one for $110,000. Is that something we should be wondering about, or?
Brad Pitts, Interim Utilities Director. It's such a difficult process to get bids on the exact same tank from different companies. So what you're seeing there is a whole different process for constructing the tank and getting it delivered. And some of them, I think that higher priced one was actually to ship it to the site in pieces and assemble it on site. So that's kind of why you're seeing the differences in cost that you are.
I see. Well, you got us a good bid on this one then. I mean, that's.
Yeah, and we're going to do all the installation in-house, so saving a little bit of money there.
And then just on an unrelated note, all of your, I appreciate your timely responses to questions I have from time to time. You're doing a good job, so thank you for your input and just being real straightforward with your answers. That helps me a lot. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
B's resolution approving renewal option number 1 with Hawkins for aluminum sulfate. But once you get in with these chemicals, Brad, you're in forever. You're just.
Yeah, no.
Just like the auditors, and just like a lot of the parking people, once you're in, you're in. C is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Siouxland Concrete Standard Ready Mixed Concrete for the Public Works and Utility Department. D is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Barclay Asphalt as the primary vendor for hot mix asphalt. E is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Knife River Midwest as the secondary vendor for hot mix asphalt. F are resolutions awarding a purchase order to Murphy Tractor and Equipment for 2 backhoes with extendable booms.
All right. My last one, I'm sorry, man, last one on the consent agenda. I'm not going to pretend for one moment that I know anything about backhoes, but I do know that a lot of times there's a big difference between the make of different vehicles or different whatever industry pieces. And so I just am really curious, of your thoughts on a deer versus a case versus caterpillar. I mean, should we be looking at price? And obviously this is the lowest price, so we want to go with the deer, but is that what's going to get us farther, or, have the length, as far as the lifespan? What are your thoughts?
Travis Beldluck, Fleet Supervisor. Yes, I do believe that the deer is the best option on here. It gets the digging depth for what our departments are needing. Deer with the availability of parts and service. With our 2 new road graders, we've had a couple small options. They're there that day or the next day to fix it.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right.
I trust your judgment. I just wanted to make.
Like a deer, Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, well, I don't know how fast the backhoe's running, but yeah, no doubt.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
G is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Nebraska Salt and Grain for rock salt. 13 are applications for liquor and beer license. See the list come forward. 14, receipt of minutes. See the list come forward. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Voting electronically.
Yes.
Passes 5-0. 15 is a resolution approving the final plat of Tritz Edition petitioners Frank Tritz Jr. P and Z recommends approval. I'll move that.
Second.
Tell us how you vote or how they voted.
5-0. 2 members were absent. There wasn't anybody in the audience for or against the item.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Passes 5-0. 16 is a hearing an ordinance rezoning 5515 28th Street. Petitioners Mid-America Energy, P and Z recommends approval. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open.
That was also 5-0. 2 members were absent, and they would have had to abstain anyway. Mid-American is combining all of their facilities into this one facility. No one spoke in favor or against the item.
Exciting project.
It is a very exciting project.
If they build it like they have the others, which I'm sure they will, it'll be a
Yes.
nice addition.
It'll look nice.
Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Thank you.
Cindy. Okay.
Passes 5-0. Is anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
Nope.
I'll move it.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 17 is an ordinance vacating a portion of South Lafayette Street. P and Z recommends approval. First consideration approved March 22nd, 2021. I'll move second reading.
Second.
We didn't do second and third on this one for some reason. Are we ready to do second and third now?
Chris Madsen, Senior Planner. Correct, we were waiting for a letter from the Iowa DOT. I believe we have received that confirmation letter.
Thank you.
This is just on second reading?
Yes. Passes 5-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
I'll move that.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye, move third reading.
Second.
Five zero.
18, there's a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of the Ponca Tribe of Nebraska for land in the combined Central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Would anyone like to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 19 is a hearing and resolution authorizing a loan and disbursement agreement, nations of water revenue capital note. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone want to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 20 is a hearing and resolution assessing a $300 civil penalty against Pilot Travel Center for violation of cigarette laws. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
It's a random question, but why doesn't this appear up top like the others?
The others were set hearings, weren't they? This is the hearing.
Oh, okay, okay.
The others were a request.
I gotcha.
5-0. 21's a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the FY22 resurfacing project. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 22 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the airport maintenance garage fuel tank project. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 4-0, or 4-1, I vote no. 23 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the Wilbur Alf's Library Boiler Replacement Project. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Finally, Helen.
Passes 5-0. 24 is a resolution adopting the first quarter supplement to the municipal code. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 25 is ordinance amending chapter 1.01 code adoption of the municipal code. I'll move that.
Second.
Anyone to be heard on it? It's been a long meeting, I know, Pete. You'll get through it. You'll be okay. Passes 5-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
Move that.
Gretkin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 26, resolution amending resolution number 2020
0788 by authorizing a 90-day delay in demolition property of 2020 Douglas Street. The owner is Pedersen Todd G. Revocable Living Trust. I'll move that. Second. Daryl, does Todd own it now, or is he? Okay, well, he's fixed up a lot of them. I would guess it'll be okay.
He just purchased it and provided all the bond and all the other information that we needed, and he's getting ready to go.
Okay.
Before we vote, I'd just like to say thank you, Daryl. I've been through several placard hearings now, and I've heard, the promises that have been made and a lot of promises that don't get followed through. And this is another case of the city working, being very flexible with the property owner, giving them time. They do get bonded, I agree.
Yeah.
But giving them time to work on these properties so they don't have to get torn down, so that they can be viable to our community. And thanks for all your effort for that.
And thank you.
And this is probably going to be falling in the affordable housing, category, where they end up living there. They don't. I suspect that they won't, but maybe offered as a rental or re-offered for sale. And, we are all starving for more affordable housing in town, and this is a step forward to it. Our most affordable housing is the housing that exists.
Yep.
So thanks so much.
But he wasn't the owner at the hearing.
No, it was
No.
a bank, but this gave them, motivated them to get it moved down the road, gets it in somebody's hands to get it done.
Right,
So that's what
right,
happened.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darrell.
Passes 5-0. Citizen concerns. Any citizen want to be heard, please come to that microphone, state your name and address, and you got 3 minutes. Tell us what you want us to know.
Andrew Velashek, here in town, 723 Jones. I just have 3 minutes, so first, like the Neighbors magazine, I think that's just spam, and there's not much practicality to it.
Sir, could you pull the microphone closer to your mouth? Thank you.
My first concern was replacing salt. I was just looking online today about coffee or alfalfa grain. I thought that was pretty practical for Sioux City. And the Neighbors magazine, I don't really appreciate receiving, and don't think like that. Well, I appreciate the magazine. I don't appreciate the advertisements. That's overkill. And then I have one big project here with like Art Cortez. It's a little less practical maybe, but it's to cut out like kanji shapes. It's called language land. It was originally kanji land, but I thought like it would be more applicable calling it language land. And like have a calligraphy cafe and like laser tag entertainment center made out of the letterings to get like something awesome like that going. I appreciate the time.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Dave, you and I have talked about that in the past, about alternatives for salt for the roadways. I know I haven't heard of alfalfa and any of that, or even coffee grounds, but I had you look into, wasn't it juice of some type or something? It was some liquid, but I remember it not being very cost effective, because I'm always trying to think of more environmentally friendly options,
Trying to
but
think of what that juice, the
beet juice, isn't it?
that's what I thought. I thought it was beet juice, yeah.
And I mean, we don't use straight salt. We use salt and gravel. I mean, we use it in a mix, and depending on what temperatures are going to be, we lower that mix. I mean, we usually are about 50-50, but we'll lower the salt if it's going to be warmer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we don't use straight salt, but.
And well, and I just,
unfortunately, it's just the cheapest product to use.
yeah. Well, and I just keep your ears open. I mean, if other communities in the area start trying different things, or if prices go down, I agree with that individual. I would appreciate looking at alternative options, but a lot of times it's just so expensive it doesn't work. So,
yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Anyone else? Mr. Gretkin.
None, thank you.
Back, isn't it? Julie.
It is good to be
Absolutely.
back.
2 weeks is
I'm going to
too
keep mine
long.
short and sweet. I just want to bring to everyone's attention that we just approved $5.7 million to be spent on perfecting water, pipes, streets, all of our public works. So anyone who's keeping a tabulation, I hope that helps you. This council is committed to fixing streets and infrastructure, and this is another example of dollars that are being well spent for the future of our city, for our generations, and I just want to thank everyone who helps in the planning and that makes it happen.
Alex?
I would just echo that. I mean, the water main and the Mid-American project in itself, I think, is going to be an absolute game changer for the future of our community, and I'm pretty excited about the direction we're going and some of the opportunities that are before us. So I talked with Jeff Hansen a little bit at length today, just about the future, making sure that we're ahead of that development and ideas for the future and what our planning is going to look like. But I would just echo that, Julie. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, number one, is our internship program. I wanted to just let the city manager know that I am very appreciative of your encouragement and willingness to embrace that program. I think you and Janelle and others, and not to mention the other departments that have really been champions for that effort. I really appreciate it. I know, I believe that Briarcliff has had some students. I know Morningside has had some students. Now I was actually just talking with John O'Brien about a Western Iowa Tech student that is interested. But just wanted to say thank you. I know they're doing a great job, and especially with the social media intern right now. I mean, it's things that you can see and that are a part. I mean, it's been legal, it's been human rights, marketing, a lot of different areas. And so I would just say thank you so much for the dedication to that and the council's willingness to meet that budget demand as well, because we're making an investment in those future, the individuals and those futures as well. So thank you for that. The last thing that I would bring up is that Litter Dash is coming up, and I think that if you're not noticing that there is a lot of litter in our community that needs addressed, you're not paying attention. And so I would say if you can all do your part, if you're frustrated of seeing litter in our community or bags or any other debris that's going in the roadways or in the landscaping or anything else, rather than just being frustrated by it, I would encourage you to be a part of the solution. We're going to be having Litter Dash here. It's coming up. And you can go on the Parks and Rec website, be able to check that out, sign up online. I know Matt Salvatore asked him to do a brief presentation. He said he'd be able to do that next week. We are having a task force. Some individuals are getting together, just community members, seeing what could be done. What can we do creatively to get not only around Litter Dash, but a more concerted effort, a task force, if you will, to make sure that we're meeting that need. And so that's going to be taking place tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited for that meeting as well. But yeah, if you want to be a part of that solution, I would encourage you as an individual, or if you have a team, an organization, anything else, please make sure that you're signing up to have a team. I would hope that the city, we'd be able to have various departments, if they're interested in signing up and registering, that we would be supportive of that. Take a few hours throughout your day, be able to go there and sign up and make sure that we encourage that with city departments as well. So, we are too. Okay.
Even if you have a large family.
I'm telling you, I'm looking in the back and I'm like, come on, I want a team from the Journal. I want a team from all the different news organizations, everything.
Right.
So make sure you're all going back, talking to those bosses and saying, hey, we want the afternoon or I think it's more mid-morning, but yeah, being able to go there and do that for a few hours, I think it makes a great difference in our community. We want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward, especially when we talk about this future development. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Mr. Moore.
One thing for Mr. Padmore, and I agree with the mayor on this, with the America Rescue Plan and the funds that will be received by the city. And you and I, Bob, have talked about this last week, is putting together that list of projects and what qualifies and what doesn't. But what I would like to do, I'm just looking at the calendar of April that fills up for all of us. I'd like to have you take the lead to give us some dates and times to have a retreat. I would schedule probably at least a 2-hour retreat for it so we could really thoroughly go through that. And I hope we can avoid the last week in April, but if that's what it is, that's what it is. But maybe look at the week of the 19th.
No.
The 19th is pretty full.
No, there'll be salmon being caught the week of the 19th.
Well, then the week of the, I don't know if you can have things ready next week or not.
Thursday that week, but
Thursday
Monday,
when?
Tuesday, Wednesday, there's
Well, Thursday, Friday.
Michigan is calling.
Okay, well, you do that because you need to, you need it. You have 4 votes on that one, Mayor?
That's right.
No, but seriously, I would like to get that retreat scheduled, and I'd like to try to have you get through the conditions and qualifications sooner rather than later.
For $43 million.
I was going to say.
I understand.
Be able to
Would
go
you
project
also
by project.
look into what we need to coordinate, if anything, with our state legislators and our, I mean, especially the local legislators, and how that runs through the state? I'm not sure how it runs.
City on us, we're an entitlement city.
Okay, okay. Just make sure, that's all. But that's all I have. I just want to get that scheduled if you can this week. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Alex, on the interns, you know, the League of Cities has like $400 or $500 scholarships. It would be nice, in light of the fact that merchants of this community raise 2/3 to 80% of the money for that scholarship fund, that we finally get a kid from Sioux City to qualify for that. And
I should get the details from you on that, because I know obviously the fundraiser that was raising it for him, but I don't know a lot of the details. Is that a high school student that we look
simple
for?
application. No, it can be college.
High school or
$500.
college?
They get $400 or $500. And Bob is the gentleman from Lake City, the city clerk. Get a hold of him. Anyway, we can get that information.
Because if I knew more about it, I mean, I can market it and then give it to my counterpart at Briarcliff and stuff too.
All right, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Greckin?
Aye. Yeah, just.